gentlemen, you're listening to the USBCast. This is episode 7 with Chris, Ryan, and Drew. What's going on, guys?
It's going good, Chris. How are you doing?
You know, I'm doing all right, man. A little tired, but I'm ready to go today for sure. What are we going to talk about?
Let's jump right into the Super Bowl first. An eventful Sunday night, to say the least. After our colleague Chris said it was over when the 49ers were up 10 in the fourth quarter, the Chiefs came back with 21 straight to win their first Super Bowl since, God, I don't know how many years, and the first for Andy Reid. Initial thoughts on this, guys?
I guess I'll go ahead and start it off. Yeah, I said it was over. It was kind of a half joke, but at the same time, I wasn't sure they could pull it off. I trusted in Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, but it didn't look very good, and they ended up pulling it off. It was pretty sweet. I think their defense really stepped up in the fourth quarter, and Mahomes, he didn't play that great, but he was able to. He had like a bulldog mentality. He was able to stay with it, and nice comeback for them for sure.
I don't think you were joking when you said it's all over, because we were all there, and it was like 7 minutes left. It was right before they made the big 44-yard play on 3rd and 15. So I don't even think you were half joking. I think you were completely honest. But anyway, it was a pretty good game. San Francisco completely choked. Kyle Shanahan is now responsible for 2 of the biggest collapses in NFL Super Bowl history, so good for him. And hopefully they can come back from this. But yeah, I mean, it sucks because they've outplayed Kansas City for basically the entire game, and they just collapsed there in the last 8 minutes because I think Jimmy G had the worst passer rating in the fourth quarter out of any quarterback in Super Bowl history. And they just went away from running the ball. Matthew said after the game that he was really grateful that San Francisco went away from running the ball, because if they stick with the run, that Kansas City wasn't going to be able to stop them. So. It was just really disappointing. I wanted the Niners to win, so I was pretty disappointed by it. But
do you think we'd even be talking about Kyle Shanahan having this choke job had he not already lost to the Patriots after having a 28-3 lead? Do you think we'd still be talking about this right now as him as a choke artist?
I mean, I actually kind of forgot that he was the offensive coordinator with the Falcons when they fell apart 28-3, and I just thought it was a choke job because we were up 10 points with 7 minutes left, and you had him on 3rd and 15 there, and then once Tyreek got that 44-yard reception, that completely turned the tide of the game. So I think it still would have been a choke job, but it makes it worse though because he already has a past experience with choking in big games. So
yeah, I would agree with that. Ryan, you got anything to add to that for sure, man?
No, I did want to point out, though, that I was severely underwhelmed with Mahomes' performance in this game. I really thought he would surpass 300 and not have as many picks as he did. But as you guys mentioned earlier, at the end of the day, that's what a winner is. After all those picks, he comes back and wins the game. But overall, I don't think he deserved the MVP. It is a quarterback's award, but I might have given it to Damian Williams or somebody else besides him.
Yeah, I thought Williams played really well. He had 17 rushes, 104 yards. And a touchdown, and then he also had 4 receptions for 29 yards and another touchdown, and he was instrumental there in the fourth, kind of really put the game out of reach. I also thought Chris Jones was really good.
Agreed.
And also Tyreek Hill was pretty good. He didn't get a touchdown, but he had, 9 receptions for 105 yards. So, and of course the big momentum swing there in the fourth. So I thought he deserved it too, but definitely over Mahomes. But it's like you said, Ryan, it's a quarterback's award. Which kind of sucks because now we have to deal with the next 6 months of just how great Patrick Mahomes is.
And I don't think he played even close to his best game as a pro. I actually think he played pretty bad as well. Even his throws like Tyreek Hill down the field, they were kind of just, he was wide open, couldn't really miss them.
It was more like the 49ers defense just completely collapsed and kept blowing coverages at the end of the game. But yeah.
I think the entire Chiefs defensive line deserves some real props for that. Chris Jones really stepped up in the fourth quarter, and Frank Clark was able to.
He had the game-sealing sack.
Yeah, he was able to get a lot of pressure on Jimmy G right at the end there, and he disrupted a few passes. I mean, Jimmy G kind of disrupts his own passes.
He was playing really well there the first 3 quarters, and then he
completely
collapsed. Yeah,
he
played
missed
like
a wide
Trubisky.
open Emmanuel Sanders on that second to last drive. That was wide open.
We keep talking about how bad they were, but yeah, I mean, he makes that catch. We're not talking about this. We're talking about how the Niners won the Super Bowl. But
he had no chance at the catch. That's what I'm saying. Jimmy G.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he makes the, I meant if Garoppolo makes the throw. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. He had him wide open. They schemed up a real nice play, and then they had a chance to win the game on that for sure. And it just wasn't meant to be, I guess, for Jimmy G and co.
But going back to that, I don't understand why Shanahan kept putting the ball in Jimmy G's hands. Like, you could see he was struggling, and they just completely just went away from the run.
Yeah, the run
and also,
was working pretty well.
You look at the first half, too. I mean, they were very conservative there. They easily could have drove down the field and got at least a field goal. There was that big George Kittle play, with the brutal offensive pass interference call. But even that, though, they were kind of just really conservative, and that's kind of what happened in the fourth quarter too. Very similar to what happened when he was with the Falcons. He got a good lead, and then they got really conservative, and then they kind of fell apart. So,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while for him. I know I keep talking about how bad Shanahan was, but it's gonna take a while for him to kind of grow out of this label.
It's only his third year as a head coach even, and he made the Super Bowl. That's very impressive. You can't take away what the Niners have done this year. It went from 3-13. So what, 13-3,
yeah, and made the
Super Bowl, and we're beating the Chiefs by 10 with 7 minutes left, and it was over. But I don't know. You just can't take away from just because they lost that game. You can't take away how good they were this year. They're obviously they're gonna have more chances at the Super Bowl. This roster is stacked. They're just gonna keep getting.
They're also
better.
really young too.
They're really young. They have a lot of potential on this roster. There's probably 20 guys that could all develop into really, really good players. And, they still got more drafts and stuff and free agency. I definitely think they're going to be back for sure. Do you guys do you guys want to do early, Super Bowl picks for next year? Way too early Super Bowl picks?
I have no idea who's going to win next year, to be
Well, you don't just pick who you think's going to make it in each conference.
The Lions.
Okay.
And the Jaguars.
Great pick. Yeah, the Lions are the Niners of last year. And then the Jaguars, yeah. They're playing. Did you see they're playing back-to-back games in London this year? That's interesting.
The Jaguars?
Yeah.
Why do they always in London? Why do they pick the crappiest teams to go to London?
I don't understand it, man.
It's like,
they should just move
it's like Thursday
London.
Night Football. It's like Titans, Texans, every freaking week. And it's just
I feel like
football.
Those two teams play all on Thursday night.
They were good this year, but
usually
in years past, it's been brutal football.
Yeah, I agree with that. Ryan, you got any picks after Drew's great ones?
Definitely not the Lions. I might go Saints and Chiefs. I think Drew Brees, that team's just too good not to make an appearance here soon. I think Drew Brees finally gets it done.
Are you worried about Drew Brees retiring? He said he still hasn't really made his decision for next year. So you got to think about that too.
I mean, even if he does, I'm still confident. They got Bridgewater. They could sign him to an extension. I think he's serviceable. And they got a good defense too. They've got to address some issues at cornerback opposite Marshawn Lattimore, but I like Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara, although I'm a little bit worried about Kamara kind of sitting out like Ezekiel Elliott did this offseason. But I think if they can get him locked up, they got a good chance.
Some good points there. And then, I agree that I think the Chiefs will be back. And, I'm going to go Eagles. It's a wild card. I think they're going to bounce back.
I was looking at the
next
Eagles.
year.
I was actually looking at the Eagles, yeah.
I actually picked them to go to the Super Bowl this year. They definitely underperformed, but they've had a lot of injuries the last couple of years. You got to take that into consideration. And I really think if Carson Wentz can stay healthy, I think he's a good enough quarterback to get them there. I don't think they would beat the Chiefs, but I think they could get there.
He's probably going to get hurt again, though.
That's true.
He always gets hurt.
What about the Eagles secondary, man? They were atrocious this year.
They definitely need to address
and their wide receivers. They could not catch a cold this year. They got to draft that. They got to address those two needs in the draft if they're going to compete.
Yeah, I agree. You got to factor in. You definitely have to. They need to make some moves in the offseason, but I think. Jeffrey's a really solid one if he can stay healthy. Deshaun, they had a lot of injuries too. Like Deshaun Jackson was hurt. Ertz was hurt for part of the year. Nelson Aguilar can't catch a cold. I agree with that. He's terrible. But I think if they can add a weapon in the draft, maybe they can sign a corner. Maybe Byron Jones. That might not be a bad idea. I think they can get right back in with their offensive and defensive line being really strong.
I just kind of thought I just saw two kind of wild card NFC teams. What about the Cowboys or the Rams? The Cowboys got a really good roster, but it was really coaching deficiencies that kind of held them back this year. Now they got a new coach who, even though Mike McCarthy's not the best coach, he did win a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. So
I don't see it in either one. That's for sure.
Or the Rams too. I mean, they severely underperformed the first half of the season. They kind of came on late, but it was too late at that point to make the playoffs. So,
they really.
But at this time last year, we were talking about them just the same way we talked about San Francisco.
I'm not sold on Jared Goff. He had a horrible year this year, and Todd Gurley's health really concerns me moving forward. I do like Jalen Ramsey though, a great addition to the defense, but Goff just doesn't have me sold.
You got to factor in they got a really soft linebacking core. Their secondary is solid. Their defensive line isn't too bad, but they don't have an offensive line either. They don't have any picks either to address the offensive line in the draft. And I don't know what their cap space is looking like right now, but if they can't figure out the offensive line, they are going to struggle because Goff under any amount of pressure becomes one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL and a proud member of my QB camp.
Yes. AFC, though, I think you guys are right. I think it's just the Chiefs. I mean, the only team that I am looking at that could, at least at this point right now, without knowing what's happening in the draft or free agency, is the Ravens that can compete with them. I mean, all these other teams, I'm just not at all convinced that they can compete with the Chiefs. So,
what about the Dolphins?
Yeah. Okay.
Not this year. I actually think the Dolphins could be a dark horse for that division a couple years ago with all their draft picks coming up. They got some young.
They're probably
going
to get Tua. Yeah, the Lions don't draft him.
Come on, Lions. Praying for you, man. We need it.
Okay, so we got any more Super Bowl talk, or do you want to go into the bets?
All right, let's do it. All right, so for the bets, Ryan really he really dominated with these bets this week. He called the Gatorade right. The Gatorade bet on Andy Reid. It was orange. I had yellow. Drew red. John blue. We were all wrong. And then me and Ryan both took the under in the Demi Lovato's national anthem, and that hit nicely for us. And
it was close there though at the end. She started really fast.
She held that last note for like 12 seconds.
Yeah, I think it was 150. And she got through the whole 75% of the song in under a minute, and the last 25% of the song took her almost a minute to get through. So it was close though.
Yeah, it was. You changed from under to over, which really solidified your 0-3 performance this week. It's impressive. It's almost as impressive as 3-0.
This is an off topic though, but honestly, I was more impressed with the national anthem than I was with the halftime show. I thought she did a really good job, and J-Lo and Shakira just shook their butts, did some really seductive things with rope for some reason, and that was it. And I wasn't impressed at all. But
no comment. And then for our game picks, Ryan really close on the score. Chiefs 31, 49ers 17. Man, that was a really good pick. You dominated this week. I had Chiefs 31-27. If they would score that last touchdown, that would have been sweet. Drew, not even remotely close. 42-35 Niners. Nice job, man. And then John, he didn't give us a score, but he gave us the Chiefs. At least he got one right. That's all you can say. And Drew, really good job. 0-3 this week. That's really impressive, man.
I think we started doing this 2 weeks ago, and we've all won once.
Yeah, it's impressive. And it's all been pretty dominating victories.
Yes.
Drew went 2-0, and Ryan went pristine 3-0 this week.
And you went 2-0 last week. Yeah.
Pretty efficiently last week. So we're all doing pretty well in 1 week.
Yes.
All right, what do we want to get into now? Anything else?
We traded the Dodgers along with David Price, and in return, the Red Sox got Alex Verdugo, who played in the majors last year, but is a good prospect and should be pretty good for years to come. And then there's a third team involved in the trade, the Twins. They got Kenta Maeda from the Dodgers, and in return, Brusdar Graterol, who was a top prospect in the Twins organization. He could throw, I think, over 100 miles per hour. He went to the Red Sox. So what do you guys think of that trade? There's a lot going on there. But
well, clear winners obviously are the Dodgers. And we can all agree on that. Just getting Mookie by himself would be impressive. He's the second best player in the MLB in my opinion, and he's really gonna. If they can't win the World Series with him and David Price, I don't know what it would take for them to win. They could literally. This is an all-star hitting lineup, and they should easily win the World Series this year in my opinion. What do you think about that?
Well, as a Red Sox fan, I'm a little PO'd about our best player leaving the organization, but I can see the organization taking a step to move below that luxury tax threshold and kind of build for the future. I think Verdugo's an intriguing prospect, definitely a lot cheaper option to put in the outfield. And Graterol, I'm really excited about. As we mentioned, he can hit triple digits. He's got a very impressive slider that's reaching high 90s. So I could see him being a top 3 rotational pitcher, or bring him in in the bullpen late games as a specialist. But I'm a little peeled about losing our best players. But as Chris said, Dodgers obviously won the trade, and I would project them as my early favorites to win the World Series next year.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a team in the East, team in the West. The Yankees are the by far the best team in the American League, I would say, especially now that the Red Sox don't have Mookie, and then the Dodgers are by far the best team in the National League. So it'll be fun to watch. But I'm kind of I'm not as heated about the trade as many Red Sox fans are. I'm not a Red Sox fan, but it seems like a lot of people are kind of just ripping the Red Sox. I understand what they were doing here. They're rebuilding for the future, and Mookie he said he wasn't going to re-sign a free agency after the 2020 season.
He wanted a 12-year, over $400 million in 2018.
I don't blame him.
But that's
really
ridiculous. That long term with that amount of money, it's just dangerous.
And he didn't have a great year last year. Like, he was still a good player.
It was a little down year for him last year. So I understand. I don't see how you can sign JD and then not. I don't know. I feel like it should have been the other way around.
Well, it was different management. I mean, that was Dombrowski who just gives $50 million to everybody. So
that's true. I just noticed that you have a Dodgers hat on today, Drew. Get out of the room, please.
Okay, it's a comfy hat. Anyway, for the Dodgers though, this is obviously a win for them right now. But if Mookie doesn't re-sign, and then they're stuck with another few years of David Price and all that money they're paying him,
got 3 years.
Yeah,
and he's terrible too. I think
he's not as bad as he's not as bad as people say he is. But he's definitely not. He's not worth the money they're paying him because he's not the ace he was back in Tampa Bay or Detroit or even Toronto.
Well, they signed that contract back in 2015. Yeah. He was the best.
Yeah.
But
now he's not.
He's still being paid the highest, like you said. It's just
he's
not worth
good
it
anymore.
It's like Cabrera when we're still paying Cabrera like he's a top 2 player in baseball, and he is not anymore.
The more frustrating thing is that the Red Sox are going to pay for half of the remaining contract for Price, which is, a total loss.
Yeah.
When you're trying to get, especially when you're trying to get below that threshold and you're still paying for that guy, that's a loss.
At least they got some of it off. But again, the Dodgers will lose this trade if Verdugo turns out to be as good as people say he might. At least heading into last year, he was supposed to be like the next big thing, and he was good last year, but wasn't super good. And if Mookie leaves, that's going to be a problem for the Dodgers. But for this year, it's a definite win.
I think Verdugo, he's going to have a shot. He's going to get some at-bats this year for sure. He's definitely going to slot right into that starting lineup, in my opinion. I think he will. And he's definitely going to get his fair share of at-bats this year. So if he can't get it done this year, we're really going to see if he's good, exactly,
I also saw a clip, I believe it was from last year's spring training, and the Red Sox were his favorite team growing up, so he's definitely going to be happy to be there. And also the guy from the Twins, who Ryan already kind of talked about, he's another good guy. So I thought the Red Sox, He
does have some injury concerns, though. He had 2 years where he sat out because of elbow surgery, and then he kind of had an impingement, I think it's called, last year. So there is some injury history, but there's huge upside with him.
Yeah, so, Mookie Betts, like Chris, you were saying, he's a top 3 player, and you really can never find the value when you're trading a guy like that, but I thought they got a decent return.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think it's a total loss for the Red Sox, but, they're definitely not going to compete for the World Series.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
I don't think they're going to make the playoffs either, yeah. I think they're probably the 3rd best team in the league now.
Yeah.
And who knows with Toronto, they got all those young guys. Maybe they can surprise.
Right.
And they signed Ryu too, as long as he doesn't get hurt. But
it might be time for them for the Red Sox, break it down. You might be seeing some more key pieces of that team sold off during the trade deadline this year. I wouldn't be that surprised if they did it.
I saw a rumor going around, not to bring it up to Detroit, but that JD Martinez, that they're trying to go after JD Martinez because they get a bunch of money off the books after the 2020 season, and because of their young pitching staff, that they might go after a veteran hitter. And then
where's your source?
I thought I saw it on the Free Press. It was last weekend.
Yeah, you can't trust anything the Free Press has to say, man. They just spew out opinions. There's no source.
I'm just saying, if that happens, that'd be kind of crazy.
There's no source there.
Okay. Any thoughts on the Twins, though? They got Kenta Maeda. Are they
sure?
Okay.
He's fine, I guess. I don't know.
He was a good starter for them, and then because the Dodgers have so many good players, pitchers and position players, he got relegated to the bullpen. So
yeah, it's true.
He's gonna slide into the starting rotation. So
yeah, for sure. What about the fact that the Dodgers are adding another perennial playoff choke artist to their starting rotation? Now they have him. They have David Price and Clayton Kershaw. That neither one of them can win a big playoff game.
With that lineup now, the amount of just sheer awesomeness you have in that batting lineup, you should be able to get it done no matter how much of those guys choke during October and November. I just think there's too much power by superstar talent on that team to not win anything.
I feel like I said the same thing about the. I know this is probably the best Dodgers team we've seen in their whole, I would say, all-star lineups But I feel like I say the same thing every year. How do they not win the World Series when they have all these good players? And I feel like they always.
Because the Astros.
Yeah,
are
I was
cheating.
about to say because the Astros are big in trash cans.
That's true.
And then the Red Sox had Alex Cora having video cameras in the locker room and everything.
Yeah,
Well, I wonder. Actually, that just reminds me. Is this like the Red Sox way of like saying we're sorry? They gave a Mookie Betts because they kind of stole the championship
No,
for them in
maybe.
2018.
I didn't really think about that. It's possible,
I mean, it's a pretty good compensation.
I would take it. They might win multiple World Series with Mookie. You never know.
I think last question here, unless you guys got anything else about it. But who's more likely to win the NL MVP this year, Mookie Betts or Cody Bellinger? Because Bellinger's the reigning MVP.
Christian Yelich.
And okay,
He can't stay healthy.
I'd say Mookie because I think Bellinger's going to regress. I don't think he's as good as everybody
Well, he regressed
else
in the second. He was
exactly.
amazing the first half of the year. The second half of the year, he really wasn't that good.
I think he'll probably regress back down to about 270, 280 this year, and probably about 35 bombs. I think he'll be an all-star, but I think Mookie has a chance to go back to MVP form. I think he has a better chance to be the MVP, I guess.
It's fun that we're all talking about this, and then like the Reds are going to sneak into they're going to win the wild card game and face off the Dodgers in the NLDS, and they're going to sweep the Dodgers like the Nationals did this year. So
I think the Reds have a chance to actually be.
That's what I'm saying.
That team's they're starting to build. They got some nice prospects there, but they also they added Castellanos. I mean, you could say what you want about his defense, but the dude can flat out hit when he gets hot. He's one of the better hitters in the league when he's on fire.
It'd just be so disappointing. I know I'm wearing the Dodgers hat right now, but I'm not a big Dodgers fan. But it'd be so disappointing for the Dodgers if they don't win the World Series this year. I mean, can you think of a time when a team's been this good and just hasn't won the World Series or a championship in any sport? For like this elongated period of time, like it's crazy.
I honestly.
The Warriors when the Cavs won it, they didn't have Durant, so.
I guess you could say the Cavs, but even the Cavs weren't that great the last few years.
But they also
it was just LeBron.
They won it,
and they did win
one. That's all. That kind of just disqualifies.
I guess maybe the Jazz back in the '90s when they had the Suns were really only the 2000 Suns, maybe
with the Nash, Stoudemire, Marion.
I don't know. I don't think anything compares.
I think the Jazz might just be a little bit closer just because they made it there twice and they lost both times.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But yeah, they'll probably lose again, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, I sure hope so. Do we want to talk about the other trade now in the MLB with the two LA teams? Actually?
Yeah, so this one, I believe, Chris, you said that there's still some stuff coming out that trade might not be completely done. Yeah, but as of right now, we have this was also reported I think right after the Betts trade. So Jock Peterson got traded to the Los Angeles Angels in return for Luis
Renifro.
Renifro. Yeah. I don't know, something like that. So they got traded for each other. Any thoughts? This is not as big of a deal as
Peterson instantly boosted the line. I'm not a big Jock Peterson fan, but he's got a lot of power. He strikes out a lot. Okay defense, but he'll give you some pop in the bat.
The only thing about Jock Peterson is, though, that he might get traded because the Angels have a loaded outfield out there with obviously Mike Trout, Justin Upton, Brian Goodwin, and their top prospect, Joe Adell. He's one of the best prospects in the game. So rumors are out that this might not be the first move, and Peterson may not even end up being on the Angels, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought that they might just, either trade him like now or at the deadline because, Joe Adell, he's coming up fast. He's going to be a beast. And I mean, Justin Upton, he kind of stinks, but I think Jock Peterson
he just gets hurt a lot. He wasn't terrible when he was
but he's on the field.
Last year.
He's a decent hitter. Can't feel worth a darn, but that's just the Tigers had him in the same outfield with like Castellanos and them. So they're pretty good at finding good outfielders.
They could just put Pujols on the bench and put Upton as DH, and they could start Peterson.
Pujols is washed now. He should just retire.
He's been washed for like the last 10 years, in my opinion. Yeah, he hasn't been that great.
The dude should just retire at this point.
It's sad though because. We're not getting into Albert Pujols talk right now, but it's sad because he was such a beast with the Cardinals for the 2000s, and now everyone's forgetting. And a lot of people only remember him as the washed-up Angels first baseman that sucks. But he was a beast back with the Cardinals in the 2000s.
I'm not getting into any Albert Pujols talk, but I'm going to get into some Albert Pujols talk. That's what I heard over there. But I also saw that this trade might not be finalized yet. I heard Ross Stripling might go to the Angels as well, and he's a decent pitcher. He's like I'd say a short-term starter, long reliever-ish guy, but he had like a 3-something ERA last year. He wasn't too bad. Had him on my fantasy team for a couple of spot starts. He can get the job done.
Yeah, I think the Angels are going to be a good team this year. Definitely going to be more improved than they were last year. They added Rendon, one of the biggest moves of the offseason.
The best player in the MLB.
Yes, that's debatable.
And then they also have Mike Trout, too.
Yes. And now they added Jock Peterson, and if they can trade him, even if they keep Peterson, he's still a really good player. So they should be improved. But going to Rengifo, however you say his name, he was a decent second base shortstop prospect. I think he only hit 238 in 108 games with the Angels last season. Not super great numbers, but they're saying that he may also get traded just because the Dodgers have so many infielders too.
Yeah, he was like an Angels prospect. He kind of bounced around between AAA and the majors last year, and he's a decent contact hitter. He didn't really show it much last year, but I know in the minors, he was a decent contact hitter. The combo shortstop, second baseman. Maybe he can provide some depth off the bench for them, but they may just trade him. Yeah, you're right, definitely.
Yeah, so like you said, and like how we started off, we don't have as much to talk about this one because it's still kind of developing. But it'll be interesting to see if anything else happens. Any additional thoughts, guys?
I think Joe Adell's going to be a beast. That's my additional thoughts. I know Ryan's got his profile pulled up right now, but I think once he gets to the major, I think we're really going to see why this guy's been such a touted prospect, and that outfield is going to be really loaded when he gets up there.
Yeah, I was looking forward to seeing him play last year. I
thought he would make
because
it last
they
year,
were talking about him in the preseason or the spring training. It's not NBA. They don't have a preseason. Well, yeah, and he didn't end up playing. I think did he get injured or something like that?
I'm not sure. I know he got up to AAA.
It's one of those like arbitration things probably where if you don't bring him up, you can keep him longer if you don't bring him up right away. So that's why the Tigers didn't bring up Casey Mize last year. But any other thoughts or? All right, so
I think we should move on.
There's one other trade that happened, not MLB though, NBA. It was a 12-player, 4-team trade. So give me a second, guys, as I explain what happened here. So Atlanta got Clint Capella and Nene. I'm going to be honest, I thought Nene retired. I did not know he was still playing.
I said the same thing.
Denver got Keita Bates Diop.
Keita Bates
Diop.
Diop from Ohio State.
From Ohio State.
Yeah. Some good English.
Gerald Green, Shabazz Napier.
He's still in the NBA? Gerald Green, he's like 50.
No, he's not. He was just on the Rockets a few years ago. Remember they brought him off the couch?
Yeah. That's right.
Noah Vonleh. And then the Denver also got a first-round pick. Houston got Jordan Bell, Robert Covington, Golden State's 2024 second-round pick. And then last but not least, Minnesota got Malik Beasley, who's a beast and just didn't play a lot for Denver.
He's a beast? Oh, I don't know about that.
He is a good player.
Juan Hernan-Gomez, Evan Turner, Jared Vanderbilt, and they got a first-round pick from Brooklyn's 2020 first-round pick, lottery protected from Atlanta.
It's kind of funny just because just my instant thoughts just on all the pieces that the Nuggets gave up. It's kind of weird because I had just been watching them destroy the Blazers like a little while ago, and they had all played like a significant role because it was such a blowout. And I was just thinking, like, man, their bench is really deep, but, they just traded half of it away. So, I don't know. That's pretty interesting to me to start off.
I'm confused as why Atlanta wants to pay that much for a paint-bound center, especially in today's modern game where you have to space the floor. I'm just confused about that, especially when you got Trae Young and John Collins already. I just don't think the Capella move makes sense in terms of modern NBA centers stretching the floor. And also, the Rockets, they're fully committed to playing small ball now. As Chris mentioned before we started it, P.J. Tucker's probably going to be playing center, all 6'6" of them. I don't know how well that's going to work, especially when we get into the postseason and rebounding becomes more crucial. But Mike D'Antoni, whatever the hell his name is, he doesn't seem to mind. So, Drew, thoughts?
Honestly, it's just like we're like kind of reshuffling some deck chairs here. Like, there's a lot of players involved in this trade, but like, do I really care about any of these guys? No, I don't.
I mean, Clint Capella is he though? The biggest. I'd say he's the biggest piece.
He's the biggest piece in the trade, but is he good? Is he gonna do anything? He's gonna get hurt. He's gonna have his stupid hair highlighted thing. That's dumb in my opinion.
Yeah, it's dumb.
I don't know. Like,
I feel like this kind of just hinders the growth of John Collins. Capella's not a floor spacer at all. So, like, I mean, John Collins, he can hit the three a little bit, but he needs some space to work down low.
Can Collins shoot the three?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay, so, I mean, I guess Capella could be a good pick-and-roll partner with
Capella needs a good point guard for him. He's a rim runner. He gets rebounds, and he's not as good a shot blocker as he should be for his size and length. So
he's a pretty good. He provides some pretty good defense, though. I'd say he's a solid defensive center.
Maybe, and I don't understand though why Atlanta wanted a big so bad. Because they were like the first team in the Andre Drummond sweepstakes.
That's what I'm saying.
And I don't really understand why they were losing their minds over getting a center.
I mean, because they were in the Drummond deal, they were kind of crazy. You can just tell if they're going for Drummond, they're
Someone's
crazy.
going, yeah. I guess they do have decent wing players, and maybe they just want to get a big center. But even their quote unquote decent wing players haven't been that great this year. Like Kevin Huerter, DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish.
I think it's going to take some time for them to develop. I expect them to be a lot better going into this year.
Yeah.
They're what they have the worst or second worst record in the NBA right now. Not very good for them.
Minnesota definitely won the trade. They got Beasley in a first-round pick. That's a good pickup for them.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. That's a big pickup. I mean, Covington wasn't too bad for them, but they didn't really lose anything else in the trade, and they were able to gain a nice first-round pick. The Rockets pick won't be super high, but it's still a first-round pick. They can use it to leverage off. I know they were looking at deloading. I don't know if that's going to happen, but they can maybe use that to leverage off for deloading. And I think Beasley, I do agree with you that he didn't get enough playing time because the Nuggets bench was so deep, but I don't think he's as good of a player as you do. I think he puts up a lot of shots, pretty inefficient, but he's got some athleticism, no doubt, and some potential.
He's pretty good in my opinion. Also, Hernan Gomez is also a good player.
He's not too bad.
I think Jared Vanderbilt, he was supposed to be pretty good. He's a rookie,
isn't he?
Do anything.
No, he's not a rookie.
He's a second year. I think he's second or third year, yeah. But the first round pick to kind of transition, because I think we're kind of over this trade. I mean, there's really not much to talk about. But Minnesota, they might use that pick to try and get D'Angelo Russell, which by all accounts, Golden State doesn't want to do it. But
we're not going to hear the last of Houston. This move was to free up some cap space so they could, get someone at the end of the deadline. I don't think we hear the last of Houston before Thursday's deadline. So
I think they want to snag like a backup center just to counter some of these bigs that they're going to have to go up against.
Because you got about 38-year-old Tyson Chandler and Isaiah Hartenstein. I would go for a center.
They're going to need to. I think they have $12 million in cap space. Maybe they can take an expiring contract now. And maybe a couple more assets to help the team out, and then
Andre Drummond ?
Sure, feel free. Please take him.
It
sucks.
I hope Andre gets traded, but it's probably not going to happen.
Oh, but they need to make a trade. Well, when's the deadline?
Thursday
tomorrow.
At 2.
Thursday. Oh,
this has been the quietest trade deadline I've experienced.
Who's even available now? I mean, I know we heard the big Luke Kennard to the Suns rumor. I mean, that's big news. But I don't think the Pistons should do that.
Rose is still available. I think the Pistons are probably they probably have the most to offer out of any team in the league right now. I
heard a weird Terry Rozier for Julius Randle Knicks Hornets trade.
Marcus Morris. That point, Marcus Morris has been talked about.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
for contender maybe.
He's been pretty good this
year.
He's averaging almost 20 a game.
Kevin Love, Tristan Thompson, are they still...
I saw that I saw a couple of days ago that some teams were expressing interest in Kevin Love. I don't remember who it was exactly.
It seems like Tristan Thompson's been generating some more buzz, though,
but
in my opinion.
I don't know why.
Yeah, who wants
exactly.
Tristan Thompson?
He's a worse
the Kevin Love news. The Kevin Love rumors have kind of really died down here.
I'm not really sure why. I think Kevin Love can add. He can add some.
He's a modern big.
Yeah,
honestly, the Rockets.
Who's going to
pay? He's a perfect big for the Rockets for sure.
But who wants to pay?
That's a good point.
Yeah, he's
old and he's injury prone. That's not good.
Yeah, that's true. But when he's healthy, he can.
He's a whiny baby,
the floor.
In my opinion.
Yeah, he's also that. But he's on the court. He could be a great third option for the Rock. I don't think they're going to actually make the move, but I think he could be an excellent third option for them. He can shoot the 3-ball. Pretty good rebounder. Not as good as he was earlier in his career. And he can kind of provide scoring from every level. Would be a really good third option for some contending team.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what
Maybe
happens.
The Blazers. They
need
some extra scoring.
As we're recording right now, I think there's about 25 and a half hours until the deadline. So
yeah, we'll have to do a recap next week of everything. If anything happens, we'll have to talk about every trade.
Yes. So yeah, we'll talk about that more next week. But other than that, we're talking about the All-Star Game snubs and who made the team, who didn't make the team. Who was your biggest snub?
Well, it's clearly Devin Booker. That's a clear-cut pick for me. I don't know how that dude doesn't make it. When he's in some rarefied territory, what are you averaging? 27? I think it's 5 and 6 or something like that.
Something crazy like that.
There's only been like 7 or 8 players that have even had that average in like seasons. I don't understand how he's not making the team. And he's shooting a really good percentage from the floor this year too. I really think he's taking a step up. I know the Suns, they're in playoff contention, not a great team, but I definitely think he deserves to make the team, and I don't know how he didn't.
If you're going to mention Booker, then I'll go ahead and mention Bradley Beal,
who
somehow Chris Middleton made the team over Bradley Beal. And my thinking is that Middleton had that 50-point game about 2 days before the reserves were announced, and they probably saw that and go, "Oh, Chris Middleton must be a good player." But in reality, he gets carried. His numbers are heavily influenced by Giannis, his presence on the floor. So I think Bradley Beal is one of the best scorers in the Eastern Conference. I think he should have made.
I think he's almost just as big of a snub as Booker, in my opinion. And I to your point about Middleton, he'll always play second fiddle to Giannis, and he'll never draw the best defender on another team or even close to that. And that's why he gets so many good looks.
I think Beal is there's a better all-star participant than Tatum, Lowry, and Middleton, in my opinion. But the voters, I guess, just valued winning more than individual stats.
And Trae Young starting. Too,
yeah, the coaches didn't have it.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Oh, man, I don't really care about winning when you're carrying a team. I don't know how you could win with that Wizards roster. That's hard words to say back to back, but they are just a bunch of absolute bombs on that team. And then Bradley Beal is unbelievable. He gets so much defensive attention, and he's been pretty efficient this year. I think he's shooting 46% from the floor, not shooting too bad from 3, and well from the free throw line. I think he deserves more love than he gets in this league.
I'm honestly probably more fired up about Booker though. Donovan Mitchell, who's having a great year for a really good Jazz team, and I'm a Donovan Mitchell fan. I feel like Booker should be over Mitchell, but it's not.
Definitely.
That's very close. But how is Brandon Ingram in the game and Booker's not in the game? Because the whole big thing is, Booker's team doesn't win and Booker hasn't earned it. Blah blah blah. But like, Ingram's having one good year, and I feel like Booker's stats are better. I'm pretty sure the Suns are a better team than the Pelicans. So
yeah, they are.
Why is Ingram in the game and Booker not in the
Ingram's
game?
To his own credit, he's having a really good season too. He's averaging about 25 a game. He's shooting almost 50% from the floor. He's been excellent. He's really taken leaps since his first year. We are finally starting to see those comparisons to KD. I mean, I think we've even talked about this.
Yeah, I'm not saying Ingram's not a good player. I'm just saying Booker's a better player.
Oh,
Booker
I would.
And you can't even use because like with Mitchell, you can say, the Jazz are better than the Suns. It's a winning team. Their stats are comparable.
And he's their best player.
And he's one of their best players, him or Gobert. He's their best offensive player.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you can make that argument, but with Ingram, he's on a crappy team, and Booker's on a better crappy team than Ingram, and he's got better stats. So how did Ingram make it and Booker didn't make it, in my opinion?
Yeah, that'll be a mystery to me for a while. I just don't think he gets any respect in this league. I think Booker's one of the coldest players, and if the Suns ever start winning, you're really going to see him enter the MVP conversation. If they ever start winning games or he gets traded, I think you'll definitely start to see him as an MVP candidate because of how good of an offensive player he is.
I forgot about Westbrook too. I think Booker's more deserving than Westbrook.
I don't know. Westbrook's been carrying them for the last month since Harden's numbers have been really down. He's been unbelievable.
And Westbrook affects the game in a lot more other areas than Booker does. Good rebounder, although he steals his teammates' rebounds. And
he's not as good a shooter, though.
Oh,
definitely
horrendous shooter. He's one of the worst qualified shooters in the NBA.
He's more in the Mitchell conversation, though. I feel like him, Mitchell, and Booker are all very similar.
Yeah.
And at least their impact.
They just needed to find a spot for him somewhere on that team, man.
Booker? Yeah.
That's ridiculous to me. Beal, I'm also a little mad about him because I'm a big fan of both of these two players, but I definitely think Booker is more deserving of the year he's had.
What do you think about Karl Anthony Towns saying that it wouldn't be the best 24 players in the All-Star game, kind of alluding to the fact that he was left out and he should have been on the team?
Shut up, man. Like, I don't think they've won it. Like,
well, Minnesota sucks. That's a snub, too.
I don't know, because in that Western front court, you got Kawhi, Anthony Davis, LeBron. Who else? You got Jokic.
Yeah,
I would all have them over
Gobert.
Gobert. Gobert. I mean, it would come down to Gobert or Towns, and
I'd go with Gobert just because Towns missed a bunch of games.
Yeah.
He's still averaging 27 and 10 a game, man. I don't know. I don't really like Cat. I don't like him as much as a lot of other people do, but I think that's an all-star. I don't see how these players are getting left off.
Would you take him over Gobert then?
Oof, man, that is really tough though.
So that's, any other talk about the stubs, or ready to move on? The subs, the snubby subs. All right, we got some questions here. So for this week, our bets of the week are going to be the Michigan State game. It's a big game here in the USB studio because Ryan and I are Michigan fans, and Chris, of course, is our resident Michigan State fan.
Yeah, I am.
But before we go into our picks and predictions, Chris, why don't you talk about how both teams are coming off some tough losses?
Oh man, I didn't really get a chance to watch a ton of either game, but I did caught the tail end of the Michigan versus Ohio State game in the Chrysler Center. Michigan, they really off the start. They really struggled to get the ball in the basket. They didn't shoot very good. They've really struggled shooting the ball really since the battle for Atlantis and when they got really hot in that tournament. But without not having Livers, man, they just haven't had someone really step up. Teskey wasn't good at all yesterday. I think he only had like 7 points. He really didn't use his size to his advantage, and he was getting dominated on the defensive end. And I think it was. Wesson was a beast. Yeah, he had 22, I believe. I think he had a really good game. It was a tough fight, but they couldn't get the job done. And then Michigan State, man, they got off to a really bad start. No one could really put the ball in the basket, and then they really came back with a vengeance in the second half. Cassius played really well, and then the unfortunate missed free throw right at the end of the game. He doesn't usually miss those free throws. That's just an outlier. He's a really good free throw shooter. He's been really consistent, 80% for the last couple of years, and I'm sad he missed that, and I'm sad they lost the game, but it's weird that both Michigan and State lost in home games. I think it's really hard to win on the road, so kudos to Penn State. That's a big win, and also Ohio State keeping their tournament hopes alive.
Yeah, I agree. They're both coming off some really tough losses, and it'll be kind of a get-right game for
someone's
both
gonna
teams.
Win.
Exactly. Someone has to win. So going into our predictions here, Ryan has he was the most negative on Michigan's chances, even though he's the biggest Michigan fan, which was kind of surprising. But he has Michigan State winning by a score of 78-62, and then we're predicting what Cassius Winston's final point total will be, as well as Xavier Simpson's assists. So for Cassius, he has 28 points, and for Simpson, he's got 4 assists with 5 turnovers. Chris,
he has added in the 5 turnovers. I feel like it's kind of a shoo-in for Xavier to get 5 turnovers. But
yeah, as long as he doesn't get suspended for a game again.
It's very possible.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of weird because I am again, like Drew said, I'm the resident Michigan State fan here, and I am the most, I'd say the most bullish on Michigan's chances. I think it's going to be a lot closer because it's in the Chrysler Center. If it was in Breslin, I'd probably agree about 15, 16 points. But I'm going to say 70-61 Michigan State. I think Cassius will get the job done again with 26. And then Simpson, I think he'll dish out 6 assists and probably have 4 or 5 turnovers.
And then I'm kind of right in between. I don't think Michigan's going to win, but I also don't think it's going to be as big of a blowout as Ryan predicts. So I have Michigan 75-60 in favor of the Spartans. Cash is going to have 21 points. I feel like he'll probably kind of coast there towards the end of the game because Michigan State will be up, and maybe he won't score as many points as Chris, you predict, or Ryan predicts. And then as far as Simpson, I think he's going to have 8 assists, and he's going to have a pretty good game, but he's also going to have 7 turnovers. Well, it's hard. Talking's hard, man. It's been a long week.
It's been we've had some struggles on the pod this week with talking, but I think we're all in agreement that Michigan State should win this game, even though it's in Chrysler. You can't take it for granted that Michigan is home here. It's really hard to win on the road. I know the two schools are separated by about an hour and a half, but I think the Spartans, I think this is kind of a get-right game for them. I think Cassius will. I think he's going to play one of his better games of the year, coming off that missed free throw. That's all he's thinking about right now, and I think he's really going to bounce back with a big game. I think he's going to dish out about 9 or 10 assists too. I think it's going to be a double chance for him.
Yeah, with Michigan, I've just lost all hope. It'll be nice if they make the tournament, but
at this point, this would be a big win for them, though.
If they can win this game,
I think they might be back at least on the bubble if they can win this game. This would be a huge win for Michigan. They need to play well.
If they had beaten Ohio State last night, I would have more confidence going into this game because they were coming off 2 reasonably nice wins against
Rutgers was
terrible Nebraska team, but then also a top 25 team in Rutgers last weekend. But the Ohio State game, they were in it, but they should have won it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
So, I don't know. they always seem to play Michigan State tough, but then Michigan State blew us out earlier in the year too. So I probably won't watch the game after the first half because it's probably going to be over. It's probably going to be over.
It's on Saturday at 12, I believe, or 1. Oh no, it's at 11:30 on Saturday. That's right.
It's at 12. You're right. You're right.
Okay.
It's at 12.
All right.
But yeah, so to finish off the podcast this week, Chris, you have a list. This is going to be something that we start at the end of each week now. You have a list of your favorite players, favorite teams, least favorite players, least favorite teams. Yep. So why don't you start us off with your first list?
Today I'm going to do, we want to get a little fired up right at the end of the podcast. I'll have, I'm sure Drew hates some of these teams as well. There's a few of them I know that he likes. But we're going to go into least favorite teams first. And I'm going to start right at the bottom. I would say my 20th least favorite team is the Los Angeles Lakers. You know, not really a big fan of, I'm not really a big LeBron guy. I don't know. I can't really like them.
I agree with that, yeah. I'm not a big Lakers guy either. I think it's just kind of a Detroit thing. Yeah. I like Kobe, but I don't like anything else about the Lakers. So.
Me as well. Yeah. Number 19, I got the Atlanta Falcons, kind of a wild card pick. I hate Matt Ryan, and I hate the Falcons, and I think they're trash, and I don't think he's that good of a quarterback, and it's pretty much just because of him.
I mean, I think Matt Ryan is perfectly rated. He's a solid quarterback. He won an MVP. He is an MVP because he won an MVP.
Yeah, besides that, he's been like above average quarterback. But everyone thinks he's like top. Some people think he's top 5.
I feel like he's perfectly rated. And I'll be honest with you, I have zero opinion on the Falcons.
That's fine. Yeah, it's just a wild.
I hate Julio Jones though because I draft him every year on my fantasy team and he sucks every year.
This year, so yeah, that was cool.
Sorry, continue.
And then this kind of this starts the list of just a ton of basketball teams that I hate. First is Indiana college basketball. You know,
hate them.
They always beat Michigan State, and I mean, like you said,
they're overrated. They were great back when Bobby Knight was there in the 80s and 90s, but now they're just like they had that one good year with Oladipo and Zeller.
Yeah,
and that was it.
I agree. That's a very good opinion by you, Drew. I don't think anyone in the Big Ten likes Indiana, especially because they always beat Michigan State.
They have those stupid pants.
Yeah, they're dumb.
Yeah.
And then next, a little combo pick. It's just Wisconsin football and basketball, man. How can you like either one of those teams? And it's another Big Ten team that just I feel like it's impossible.
I love Frank Kaminsky. I will say that, but Sam Decker, screw him. They had that one guy.
Bronson Koenig.
Ben Brust.
Oh yeah, remember Bronson Koenig?
He just everyone was going off on Bronson.
Yeah,
for like that one year.
And then
they always like have these weird like miracle shots too that beat Michigan back in the day. And it ticked me off. But
I also hate their football team. They're really boring to watch.
I have no opinion on their football team.
Yeah, they're boring. And then my next pick, obviously Drew isn't going to agree with this one. It's Michigan football,
I respect that. I mean, there's a lot of Michigan fans out there, so
it's mostly just I would say the fan base. It's like I don't like. I'm one of those State fans that obviously doesn't like Harbaugh. I'm not a big fan of him, but I can't deny that they're a lot better with him, and I really hate Michigan fans. That's about it. And their basketball, they're not on the list. Spoiler alert: Michigan basketball not on the list. I don't have a really strong opinion about them. They're kind of just there. They don't really bother me as much as some other Big Ten basketball teams, that's for sure. And then we're going into another one I don't think Drew's going to agree with. It's the New York Yankees.
Yeah, I like the Yankees. But I mean, everyone's got them on the list. But.
Yeah. Everyone else besides Drew and other Yankees fans are going to have them on the list. If you're not a diehard Yankees fan, you're not a Yankee, or you're like an anti-Yankees fan.
I'm not a diehard Yankees fan, but I'm a Yankees fan. So.
Okay, well, never mind then. I can't stand them, though. And then here we go. We're going to start rattling off some college basketball teams. Kansas basketball, I think Bill Self is a crook. I hate everything that they stand for.
Overrated. Talk about overrated.
Very overrated. They don't win anything.
Bill Self, I mean, is awesome.
That dude is beyond
He's got one national championship. You'd think he's got, like, as many as Tom Izzo. Oh, wait, Tom Izzo only has one national championship, too.
What an asshole. Wow. That was a shot. All right, whatever. We're going to move right into the next team. This is pretty much the same team to me. Kentucky basketball. I mean, how can you like John Calipari and all their...
crook.
Yeah, exactly. It's another crook. It's all the teams that these are just teams that I think that just recruit and pay people and do some other shady stuff. Not a big Kentucky guy. They beat Michigan State this year, too, so that was rough. Next team, this is not really, I would say... it's not really on the same level as these other teams in terms of like cheating and stuff. This is another Big Ten team. It's Purdue basketball. How can you like that team, man? I cannot stand this team. They're so overrated every year, And, again, another team that does beat Michigan State sometimes. But I just think
I'm finding a common theme with all these teams.
They're just so unlikable, unwatchable. They're really boring. Carson Edwards was probably the only player that I actually respected that's ever went there. Everybody else I just can't stand.
You weren't a big A.J. Hammonds or Robbie Hummel guy?
No, none of those guys.
Honestly, I have no opinion on Purdue basketball either. But after you, Chris. Keep going.
Right. Next team, it's Alabama football. I mean,
who likes them? Unless you're from Alabama. I mean,
you can't.
Nick Saban, Crook. They win all the time.
I'm finding a common theme on this list as well. It's just a lot of coaches that I don't like. I mean,
the team embodies the coach, so that's probably why.
I just think they get dealt such a great hand every year, and like they should win the national championship every year, but they just ran into. And
I also hate the media coverage of Alabama. Like, oh my God, Tua and Nick Saban, they are the greatest players of all time.
Unless Tua comes to the Lions, then I love it.
But it was the same thing with like A.J. McCarron too. Like you would have thought he was Tom Brady. Jalen Hurts,
Derrick Henry. Oh, they get so
Mark
much.
Ingram. He was like the first one. He was the first
true.
one.
Next one, this is kind of off the rails college basketball team. It's Gonzaga basketball. I mean, they're just
really off. It's not as off the rails as Purdue, but
I guess so.
They're always overrated.
Yeah, I just think they play in such a cupcake conference, and I just don't get how you can make them a 1 seed every year. And I will never pick them to win an NCAA tournament unless they move to the Pac-12. Because I hate them, and I think they don't play anybody.
They made that one national championship game that 1 year.
Yeah, that was cool. Good. I'm glad North Carolina. That's the one like blue blood that I actually like is North Carolina. Yeah, and I don't love them, but I don't think they're as annoying. They usually get their players to stay for more than 1 year. I'd say for the most part. Now this is kind of I'd say the elite tier of just players.
How many you got left here?
I think we got 9.
Okay.
We got the Cowboys. That's to start off the list. That's just a no-brainer. I don't really have anything else to add to them.
Yeah.
They suck. All right, move on. Duke basketball.
That's a no-brainer. I mean, who likes Duke? Coach K is a crook. Yeah. I like Zion. I like Zion.
I hate everything that team stands for. I love when they lose. It's a great time.
Grayson
I'm glad
Allen,
we beat them last
JJ
year.
Redick.
I'm glad the Spartans beat them last year in the tournament. That's all I'm saying. Me and you watched it.
We did watch. We were at beat-ups.
That was fun.
Great time.
It was a really good time. Next team is Ohio State football. I mean, how can you like
Crooks.
This team? Yes.
Yeah, all these are just crook teams.
Bunch of crooks.
Urban Meyer. Here's you know who I hate? I hate Gus Johnson. I remember last year I was watching the Ohio State-Michigan game, and Gus Johnson just like, oh my God, there's only certain people that walk this earth that are like Urban Meyer. And it's like, come on. Like, he's a terrible person. He's a terrible human being. He wins a lot, but he's a terrible person.
Yeah.
So screw that guy.
I agree. Next team, the Houston Rockets. I just hate James Harden. I don't really like Russell Westbrook either. This is why they're so high on the list, number 6. I'm really not a big fan of anything they stand for. Next one, this is the highest college basketball team. It's Virginia basketball. I mean, they score 35 points a game and somehow win. And I'm so happy that they were the 16th. They were the one team to lose to a 16th seed. It couldn't happen to a worse program or a better program.
They were so bad that they just won the national championship the following year.
I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Kyle guy.
Oh, damn it. Spoiler alert, he will be on my most hated list for players. Next one, this one's another off-the-rail one. I don't really talk about much with you guys. It's Florida football, man. Oh, my goodness, they're overrated.
I mean, I used to hate them, but now they're irrelevant. So.
I hate them so much. I just hate watching them play. I'll always remember the stupid bowl game where they played Iowa, and I watched it. It was like 9-8 or something like that. It was some like ridiculous score. It was the most boring game I ever watched.
I hate Tim Tebow because he's so biased towards the SEC now that he's a commentator on ESPN.
He sucks. Everything I can't stand.
And he thinks he's a baseball player now. Like, get a grip, man.
Yeah. All right. Nothing they stand for is good. All right. This is the top 3. This is all professional teams. It's the Patriots are the number 3 spot. Obviously, Drew's not going to agree with this.
Yeah, I really don't agree with that. But
how can you? No one else likes the Patriots. They win. It's probably because they win so much, and it's just boring that they always win. But I mean, I guess it's a semblance to how dominant they've been. This one, I wouldn't say I hate their players as much. It's just I hate that they win so much, and I don't like Belichick either. But I can't deny how good he is.
I mean, I've been a diehard Patriots fan since I was, 4 or 5 years old. So I really don't agree with you on that one, but I understand it because kind of like with the Yankees, everybody hates them, but I like them.
Right.
So
next team, kind of alluding it to earlier. Nice hat, Drew. The LA Dodgers. I mean, this is another team that just no one likes. They don't win anything. This is the difference between them and the Patriots. They don't win anything either. They win a lot of regular season.
You think they won a lot with the media coverage they get.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's why it's so annoying that they're
like
the
Knicks
always,
or the Giants.
Yes, I agree. The Giants should have been on my list as well. I'm pissed that I didn't put them on.
Which
there.
one, the San Fran or New
York?
Oh,
I was talking about the New York
Giants.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking of, too.
Yeah.
I was like, San Fran has one, and they don't get it, but yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
And then this is the number 1 team. This is more of a tribute to the Lions. Being a Lions fan for miserably. It's the Green Bay Packers, man. You know, how can you like this team, man? Aaron Rodgers is such an unlikable guy. I wasn't a big Brett Favre fan either when he was there. I hated Mike McCarthy. I don't like I don't even care what their new coach's name is. I don't like him. What's Matt LaFleur?
Matt LaFleur, yeah.
Suck an egg. I hate that guy.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, the Packers, they're so unlikable. I feel like even if you're not in the NFC North, you still hate them. I feel like no one besides people that live in Green Bay and one random friend that I have like the Packers.
And ESPN.
Oh, yeah, they love them too.
Yeah. You would think Aaron Rodgers has like 6 Super Bowls.
Rings, yeah.
I think we might have talked about this before, but I saw this one thing that said if Aaron Rodgers would have won the Super Bowl this year, that he would be the GOAT. And I'm like,
yeah, okay.
What?
Okay. I feel like you're kind of starting to see a trend here. I mean, Rodgers has all the talent in the world, but, like, only winning 1 ring with, like, I mean, I think he's had some good rosters on there, and I think he's had some chances. They kind of just choke in the playoffs every year, and I think they're the most overrated, annoying. I just hate them. They get all the calls. I feel like it's just
I agree.
A lot of it's just like a semblance of crap with that team. I just hate everything about them.
It's a good pick.
Thank you. Pick. Appreciate it, man.
So that was a really good list, Chris. This will be a new. We'll maybe shorten it up a little bit for next week, but
yeah, definitely.
This is a good new segment, and unless you have anything else.
No, that's pretty much it for me. All right. Shout out to all these teams. I absolutely hate them.
Yeah, screw them. Okay, so that'll be it for this episode of the USBcast. Thank you for listening. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and subscribe to the YouTube channel, please.
At the USBcast.
Yes. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.